Trying a new camera here, making a video on a sun visor, sunshade for my mower. Should work with anything with a ROPS. I've decided that I'm going to make it .30 inches, 30 inches front to back, and 29 inches side to side. So I just bought some flat bar, 1/8 by 3/4 by 6. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. I got these lined up next to each other, so I'm going to put the same marks on both pieces, but 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to go half of 29 inches, so it'd be about 14.5 inches, and then 30 inches, and then 14.5 inches, and then 1.5 inches. And then bend these into C shapes. Okay, to recap the measurements, since mine's going to be a 29 by 30, yours might be different, so you do what you need to do. But I measured 16 inches, and then from there I measured another 30 inches, that would equal 46, and then another 16 inches, and then I cut it off. So it's 16 inches, 30 inches, 16 inches, and then when I bend these in my vise, I'll end up with two C-shaped pieces of metal that I'll then overlap 3 inches in the middle, and that'll be my rectangle 29 by 30, almost a square, for my sunshade. Okay, so now I got these bent into two C shapes, and I tried for two 45-degree bends instead of one 90-degree bend because I figured it might be a little stronger, I don't know. So then I'm going to overlap these until I get 29 inches, and then mark how much of an overlap I got on each side, and then I'm going to drill 2 holes, one here and one here, and then clamp those together so I have a metal hoop 29 inches wide by 30 inches long. I realize I've skipped a few steps in filming, but I basically took that same metal that I made the rectangle hoop with and bent the ends at a 90-degree angle, and then drilled a hole. Used the same bolts that I bolted the two C's together to make a square, and then just ran it, 2 of them this way and 1 of them this way. And then I drilled, well, these 2 holes were already here in my ROPS, but I had to make them a little bit bigger. And then I drilled a hole here and here, and then I inserted nut certs in them. Happened to be the size of the bolts that I had. So I have a total of 4 nut certs. One there, and 2 up here. And right now it's all pretty steady. Now this top looks bent because after I set it on here, my ROPS is at an angle right here, and that had the front of this down too far. So I put these bolts in and then tweaked it, bent it, and then installed these back ones to hold it so that it was high enough here that I could get on and off without bumping my head, getting it out of my way, because the ROPS are a little low on this. So you're gonna have to get under there. So anyway, like right now it's pretty sturdy, I would say. Then we'll put some white canvas on top, and then I'll be done. Next step, I'm putting the fabric on top, and I'm just using glue. This is pretty much my favorite glue. I use it in place of epoxy most of the time. Keeps me from having to like mix the epoxy and try to spread it, and this is a lot easier. But I'm just gluing the fabric on the front, and then I'm going to pull it tight and glue it on the back. And I have to wait for it to dry because I only got so many clamps, and I'm doing it in sections. And here's a test piece I did on the piece of metal to test how hard this glue holds. And I didn't wipe the oil or anything off this metal, and it's holding pretty good. The glue is coming off the metal because it had the oil that came from the factory, whereas this has been painted, so it's a lot cleaner, should hold a lot better. And then I'm going to cut this about right here and then fold it under so it gives it a nice clean look. This fabric is an outdoor rated fabric called Sunbrella. It's used for outdoor cushions and furniture and stuff. I got it in white canvas to reflect more sunlight. So yeah, I'm just gluing this all around and then trimming the edges and folding it under. And the next video will show the finished product. Okay, the sunshade is done. I got it glued down. I tried to pull it as tight as I could get it. I mean, there's a couple of wrinkles still in there, and I folded the corners a little bit. And it doesn't look professional. The glue is still drying. I might put a little dab of glue underneath there, because if that bolt head keeps rubbing, it might rub a hole in it eventually. But you can see how I just folded that over and glued it. Got some wrinkles in it, but overall I think it's okay. I had it outside today and the wind is very windy today. It didn't budge. Easy to remove if I ever needed to remove it. Just 4 bolts. I can reach under there with a wrench. doesn't look as professional as like a store-bought one, but the store-bought ones are like $300 and up. I probably paid about $40 for this. And some of the store-bought ones are for like generic ROPS mounted. Sometimes they're very large or huge, made for like giant tractors or something. I'll give it a try.